Welcome to episode 4 of the From Scratch series, where we tried to make 100 mil by only Pking in the wilderness. Last episode we further increased our total bank value to 14 mil. So this episode we can actually start to bring some decent plus ones, such as the toxic staff or the AGS, because most of our money in the past was actually invested in either supplies or some other plus ones, such as the dragon crossbow and the heavy ballista. But this time around we can actually start to bring a decent Pking setup. As usual, I started to PK at the south side of the ref case. This spot is ideal if you want to PK on a pure or a zerker account, because even if you do encounter med levels or mains, they are usually in a basic mystic setup, which still gives you a decent chance of killing them. While I was PKing, I noticed some low level account builds at the more northern side of the ref case. These were either old accounts used by PVMers to keep their loot, or they were used by teams to scout people in the ref case. After a while, I decided to take matters into my own hands. After quite a while, I finally encountered a Pker. I started to become bored of always PKing at the south side of the ref case, so eventually I decided to kill a few more PVMers and then head off to some other PKing spots. Something didn't feel right when I was fighting this person, because even though he was just playing mage the whole time, his eating pattern was too perfect to be a normal PVMer. And I was right, there is a team active in the ref case. Eventually they were able to kill me, and I lost around 3 mil in gear and supplies. It was a pretty painful death, but tanking wise I don't think I could have done much better. The only thing that I could have done better was staying a lot more in my tank gear and only go for entangles when there was the right opportunity. Although I just died to a team, I was in search for a riskier Pking spot, so I decided to go back to the ref caves, but this time PK more at the northern side of the ref caves. The reason why this is such a risky Pking spot is not so much because it's located at the northern side of the ref caves, but it's more so that there is a team very active in this area. And I was right, the only people I found were baits for teams. It was time to explore some new Pking spots. One of the advantages of this account is that it has done Dragon Slayer 2. And one of the main advantages is that you can lose your skull by going back into the boss room of the quest itself. This is very helpful if you plan on PKing in, for example, multi-spots in the wilderness. I was going back to the wilderness and went to the venenatis Pking spot. The challenging part about this Pking spot is that you only have a very short time window to kill someone. So you need to make sure that if you go in for your spec, that everything is done perfectly, because otherwise they can just easily escape by running into the green dragons. The loot wasn't the greatest at first, but I knew if I would camp the spot for long enough, I would find people risking quite a bit. From this PVMer alone, I made around 600k.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This was a pretty fun clip. So most people, when they get attacked at venenatis, they will just run into the green dragons and try to get a box. But in this case, the person didn't have a lot of supplies, so he was forced to eventually run to the south side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, he brought his alt account to get a box on me, but I was able to freeze him and stay on the kill.
And I don't give a fuck what you sold. That's the trash banging. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you Yeah.
But there was a very good reason why he brought his alt account, because he had us drop the onyx bow tips, which are worth quite a bit. I was attacking some more people at venenatis, and then suddenly one of his friends attacked me. And I was risking an ACB, and I'm pretty sure those were primordial boots. But I tried to get a TB on him, but he got away.
And I don't give a fuck what you sold. That's the trash banging. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. That's the trash banging. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. That's the trash banging. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. That's the trash banging. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. That's the trash banging. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. That's the trash banging.
After some time, we found some few Pkers at venenatis.
Damn, y'all feel that?
Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. I see this trash bang this. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. I see this trash bang this. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. I see this trash bang this. Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what you sold. I see this trash bang this.
This was a pretty big kill. Not only did I get a lot of loot, but I also smited the person for a black mask, and it turned out to be an ironman. This place was really a living gold mine.
And I don't give a fuck what you sold. I see the trash bang this.
Although it was an ambitious spec, it could have died at 97 HP.
Damn, y'all feel that?
Eventually, I hopped a few more worlds before heading off to another PKing spot. I tried to fight the other Pkers as well, but they kept running back into multi. I decided to test my luck again at the Wilderness Slayer caves. I ran into these Pkers at the Wilderness Slayer caves, but this time I wasn't too worried about dying, because I always lose my scope from now on whenever I go Pking into multi-spots. As I only lost 700k, I decided to go back to the caves and explore some more parts. One thing I noticed about the Wilderness Slayer caves is that most of the teams are actually active in the northern part of the cave, while all the other parts are relatively safe. Even if you do end up finding a team, they would still all need to be in the same combat bracket. Slowly but steady, I started to build up a stack of Laren keys. I was thinking back about the time that I died to that team at the ref caves, and although I could have stayed more in my tank gear or brought maybe a rune pouch to bring a bit more bruise, there was still something that kept me thinking about that debt. And it suddenly all made sense. To the normal eye, nothing really happened there. But basically what happened was that they hit me with range and I tried to change at the last tick to a range prayer, which I did correctly, but because the opponent had pit, they were able to hit me through prayer. And the reason why I know that is that in the first and the second clip they were able to hit me a 39 and a 44. And even if you put protect range on, they will never be able to hit that through prayer, because they would need to hit something like a 60 or a 70 to be able to do that. So the lesson there was that if the opponent has pit, you always need to pray 2 ticks in advance instead of 1 tick. One thing I noticed while PKing at the Wilderness Slayer caves was that there was a very high amount of group Ironman players, which I hadn't seen before when PKing there previously. It was safe to say that the person was quite mad when I killed him, because he died for quite a lot of loot for a group Ironman player. I think this player was part of the same Ironman group as the previous player I killed, because he had a similar gear setup, and when I killed him I also got similar loot compared to the previous person. It was time to call it a day, but before doing that I had to do one more thing. And this wraps up the end of episode 4 of the From Scratch series, where we try to make 100 mil by only PKing in the wilderness. Let's look at our bank value to see how much we made. During this episode we made around 11.2 mil, and we started initially with a bank value of 4.6 mil, meaning that we're currently at a bank value of 25.2 mil.